We measure the future in mere decades, election cycles, market shifts, pension funds. But look deeper. Forget 100 years. Imagine 5 billion, the total lifespan of Earth. What remains of our world? If humanity survives this crushing span of time, what will we become? Science provides a haunting glimpse. The truth is terrifying. 5 billion years from today, everything ends. Total cosmic erasure. Cold, dark, final. The road to oblivion is long and breathtakingly beautiful. It begins with the next few thousand years. By the year 3000, the Earth will be a ghost of its former self. Unrecognizable. Best-case scenarios fail. The climate is a runaway train. Current emissions are a permanent death warrant. Carbon trapped today will bake the planet for millennia. The oceans are waking up. Hungry. Total ice collapse means a 65-meter surge. London, New York, all drowned cities. Shanghai, Tokyo, Amsterdam. These giants will sleep beneath the waves in a few short centuries. The world map is being erased. Coastlines will retreat. Entire nations are destined to vanish. The human swarm is thinning. Experts predict a peak of 11 billion before a quiet, massive decline. Cradles are empty. Urban life and education have broken our primal drive to multiply. From Seoul to Berlin, birth rates are crashing. The species is shrinking. This trend is a global contagion. 1 millennium from now, the human footprint will be a faint, fading shadow. Not a massacre, but a slow vanishing. A world of elderly ghosts and silent nurseries. Machines will do the labor. Children will be rare, curated choices rather than biological accidents. Every word you speak will die. Languages vanish or mutate entirely every 1,000 years. A man from 2025 would be deaf to his ancestor from 1025. English, Russian, Chinese, all will rot. Perhaps a single global tongue survives. Perhaps total silence. Diversity is resilient, but our DNA is on the chopping block. We face 2 paths. Natural selection is a turtle. 40 generations is a blink. Evolution is too slow to save us. But genetic hacking changes the game. CRISPR is the new architect of the human soul. We may change more in 10 centuries than in 300,000 years. A new species. Radiation-proof skin. Infinite memory. Immortality. The limits of biology are being erased. The terror isn't in the technology. It is in the mirror. Will we still be human? Survival is a gamble. We are walking a tightrope over a dozen existential abysses, rogue asteroids, supervolcanoes. The clock is ticking on a planetary reset we cannot stop. Lab-grown plagues, nuclear winter, out-of-control intelligence. Our creations may become our executioners. Over 5 billion years, catastrophe is a mathematical certainty. 100%. Suppose we endure. Suppose we conquer the stars. What then becomes of the cradle? In 10,000 years, the Sahara turns lush. The Earth wobbles like a dying top. This axial tilt, precession, reshapes the world. It dictates where the sun hits and life blooms. The monsoons will march north. Dust will turn to deep emerald forests and flowing rivers. 6,000 years ago, hippos swam where dunes stand now. The desert is just a mask. Earth breathes in long cycles. Human civilization is merely a frantic heartbeat in a billion-year life. Other shadows are moving. The moon is slowly making its escape from our gravity. 3.8 centimeters every year. A tiny drift that adds up to a massive void. Tides will fail. The cosmic miracle of the total solar eclipse will vanish forever. 600 million years is the deadline. After that, the sun swallows the moon's shadow. We live in a golden coincidental age, a fluke of geometry that will never happen again. Our descendants will look up at a broken sky. Even the ground beneath them is shifting. The magnetic poles are restless. North becomes south. It has happened hundreds of times before. As the field flips, our radiation shield thins. The sun's fire will lick the atmosphere. Life will endure the flip, but our digital world will scream as the grids burn. The fallout could be catastrophic. But here is a chilling truth. Voyager 1 and Voyager 2, a pair of scouts launched in 1977, will drift through the interstellar void for eons. In 40,000 years, Voyager 1 brushes the neighborhood of star GL 445. In 300,000, Voyager 2 passes Sirius. Bolted to their hulls are golden records, mixtapes of our music and the echoes of Earth, carrying greetings in 50 languages into the silence long after our world vanishes. They may endure as our final footprint in the cosmos. Two small metallic relics with golden hearts, bearing a message from a ghost civilization. In 50,000 years, the ice returns, unless, of course, we have fractured the natural climate cycles beyond repair. Glaciers will crawl from the poles again, burying Canada, Scandinavia, and the Russian North. Sea levels will plummet 120 meters. Ancient land bridges will rise, reconnecting Britain to Europe and Alaska to Siberia. Global temperatures will drop 8 degrees. For humanity, if we still exist in a form we would recognize, this will be a trial, but not a death sentence. Our ancestors endured the frost with nothing but flint and fire. A future civilization will survive the ice, but in 250 million years, the world reshapes. Every continent will merge into a singular titan. Geologists call it Pangaea Ultima, or Nova Pangaea. The great tectonic plates, which currently drift apart, will reverse their course to crush every landmass into one giant fist. The Atlantic Ocean will vanish. The Americas will slam into Europe and Africa. The Pacific will shrink. Australia will collide with Asia while Antarctica migrates toward the equator. Whether it is Amasia or Nova Pangaea, the prophecy is the same. In 300 million years, our maps will be obsolete. The Mediterranean will choke shut. Africa will crush Europe, birthing a mountain range that will make the Himalayas look like foothills. Gibraltar will disappear. The Red Sea will expand into a new ocean. A massive rift will tear Africa in two, sending its eastern flank adrift like a new Madagascar. Eventually, the very heartbeat of the planet, tectonics, will go silent. This motion is fueled by the internal furnace of the mantle. But Earth is slowly hemorrhaging heat. The radioactive elements deep inside are decaying, cooling the core. In 2 billion years, the gears will seize. The Earth will turn to stone. Volcanoes will go dark, and the mountains will stop climbing. The carbon cycle will break. Without tectonics, the planet loses the thermostat that regulated its climate for eons, the system that recycled our very air. Mars met this fate long ago. Its engine stalled billions of years back, leaving a frozen tomb. Earth is on the same path, just moving slower. The climate on Pangaea Ultima will be lethal. The deep interior, 1,000 miles from any shore, will become a scorching wasteland with temperatures exceeding 60 degrees Celsius. Rain will never reach the heart of the continent, leaving vast territories utterly dead. At least, for life as we know it. The coasts might remain habitable, but they will endure hyper-violent tropical storms and oppressive humidity. A study in Nature Geoscience 2023 modeled this future and reached a terrifying conclusion. Under current trends of rising solar intensity and volcanic carbon surges during the supercontinent's birth, average land heat will blow past the survival threshold for mammals. Not just some, but most. The habitable zone for warm-blooded life will shrink to a thin coastal ribbon. If humanity is still tethered to this soil in 250 million years, we will have to evolve or vanish. But suppose we have already fled. Suppose we are scattered across distant stars or hidden in other galaxies. What happens to our cradle? In 500 million years, the sun begins to kill the Earth, not with fireballs, but with light. Our star is stable, but stable is not static. The sun is slowly growing hotter. Every billion years, its brightness surges by 10%. In 500 million years, it will be 6% more intense than today. This is the tipping point. The solar furnace will trigger irreversible ocean evaporation. As water vapor chokes the atmosphere, the greenhouse effect will spiral out of control. It is a feedback loop that cannot be broken. Surface temperatures will skyrocket, and within a billion years, the oceans will begin to boil away. It will be a slow, relentless transition. The foundation of all life will turn to steam, where ultraviolet light will tear it into hydrogen and oxygen. The light hydrogen will bleed into the vacuum of space. Earth will lose its water forever, following Mars into the graveyard. Simultaneously, carbon dioxide levels will crash below the threshold for photosynthesis. The green world, the base of our food chain, will simply cease to be. First, the great forests and shrubs will die. Then the grasses, the corn, and the sugarcane will follow. Without plants, the entire ecosystem collapses. Herbivores will starve, and the predators will follow them into the dark. In 800 million years, not a single multicellular organism will remain. Earth will be a scorched, silent wasteland, a mirror of Venus. In 1 billion years, the average surface temperature hits 70 degrees Celsius. The oceans will survive only as shallow, scalding pools where only the extreme survive. Microorganisms like those found in the boiling vents of Yellowstone. Life on Earth will return to its origin 4 billion years ago. Single cells in hot water. The circle closes. From bacteria to Beethoven, and back to bacteria. In 2 billion years, the last drop of water vanishes. Imagine a world charred to the bone, choking under a thick shroud of steam and carbon. Surface temperatures will soar past 300 degrees. The final breath of life will vanish. Earth won't be wounded or ill. It will be a corpse. Absolute, irreversible. 4 billion years of biological history ends in a quiet, simmering boil. But don't look away yet. The climax arrives in 4.5 billion years. As the sun enters its final death throes, our home galaxy meets its neighbor, the Milky Way. Andromeda. These titans are closing the gap at 110 kilometers every single second. In 5 billion years, the cosmic merger begins. We call it a collision, but the truth is strangely serene. Space is mostly just empty. Stars won't crash. They will slip past one another like two swarms of bees passing in the night. Yet gravity will tear them apart, warping orbits and flinging lonely suns into the dark abyss of intergalactic space. 2 supermassive black holes will eventually unite. Born from this chaos, a giant galaxy dubbed Milkomeda. Our sun, should it still exist, will wake up in a strange new neighborhood, surrounded by foreign stars. The night sky during this merger will be haunting. Today, Andromeda is a faint smudge. In 2 billion years, it will dominate the horizon. Luminous spiral arms and ribbons of cosmic dust will stretch across the heaven. Then, the gravitational tug-of-war begins. Star streams will whip out like long, glowing tails as the galactic cores begin their terminal waltz. Any sentient eye watching from a far-off world would see a sky saturated with blinding light from horizon to horizon. It is the greatest free show in existence. But by 5 billion years, the sun burns its final reserve of hydrogen. Starfire fails. The core collapses, the shell erupts outward, and our star swells into a monstrous red giant. It expands 200 times its size, devouring Mercury and Venus whole. Earth's fate remains a chilling unknown. Some theories say we are consumed. Others suggest Earth might drift further out as the sun sheds its mass. Escaping the maw changes nothing. We would be so close to the solar furnace that the surface would simply liquefy. Solid rock turns to flowing lava. The atmosphere is stripped away by a relentless solar gale, a scorched, molten ball orbiting a dying god. Yet while the inner worlds burn, a miracle stirs at the edge. The frozen shells of Europa, Enceladus, and Titan will feel the sudden intense warmth of the expanding sun. Ancient ice will melt, revealing hidden subterranean oceans. For a few 100 million years, life gets a second chance. These moons will sit right in the habitable zone. A cosmic trade-off. As Earth is executed, the moons of Jupiter might be born anew. One cradle breaks, another is built. Eventually, the sun sheds its outer layers, creating a planetary nebula, a ghost cloud of glowing gas drifting into the void. What remains is a white dwarf, Earth-sized but packed with the density of 500,000 suns. A single teaspoon of this matter would weigh 5 tons. It generates no new heat. It simply cools, like a fading ember pulled from a fire. This cooling lasts trillions of years, longer than time itself has existed. Finally, it becomes a black dwarf, a dark, invisible sphere of ultra-dense matter drifting through a dead sector. Earth's charred remains might still be there, locked in orbit, a sunless, waterless, silent tomb of rock. This is the finale. No explosion, no black hole. Just an eternal, frigid silence in the dark. In 5 billion years, the concept of living, or warm, will be a memory. Only physics remains, gravity and time, with no one left to measure them. But here is the secret. This is only our end. The universe will pulse on for trillions of years. New stars will ignite. New worlds will form in the wreckage. On those distant planets, life may rise again. Perhaps they will find our faded white dwarf. They might look at our sun and wonder, was anyone ever here? If we don't leave a mark that survives the fire, they will never know. Perhaps in 5 billion years, every trace of us will be erased from the cosmos. No echo, no memory. The universe moving on as if we never existed. It's terrifying, yet strangely liberating. If nothing is permanent, not the mountains, not the stars, then the only thing that matters is right now. This planet, these people, the light of a star that has 5 billion years left to burn. 5 billion years is both forever and nothing at all. It just depends on who is counting the seconds. Looking back at this timeline, from the lush Sahara to the dead white dwarf, one truth stands out. Nothing is eternal. Not the oceans, not the galaxies. Existence is a temporary loan, whether for a second or a billion years. The universe never promised us forever. It gave us a moment. And in that brief flicker, we learned to look up. We've clocked the eons that will bury us. We adore a world with an absolute deadline. This mortality defines us. We peer 5 billion years into the void and find wonder. But what whispers from the dark?